All right, so tennis fashion right now is about beautiful, dead people. Quiet luxury or old money. It's not enough to be rich. It's about the things that being rich for such a long time give you. It's taste, access, sophistication, power, glamour. So I guess it's not just about money, it's about class. And the heroes of those stories tend to be like literally royalty. So you've got brands copying Princess Diana's iconic paparazzi looks. So you have brands looking at JFK Jr. for inspiration. So it's like this funny trick, right? You build this universe, old money, stealth, wealth, whatever you want to call it, so that you can transform tennis, which is a pretty accessible, affordable sport. You can get rackets and tennis balls from Big W or Target. But by tying it into this world, you're not really selling tennis clothes anymore, you're selling royalty. So that the price of admission is a $200 tennis polo, which would seem ludicrous in the real world, but if you pitch it as admission to a universe that you would otherwise have no access to, it seems almost reasonable. And regardless of my feelings about it, this strategy, this fantasy, this world building of old money obviously works. But surely vintage sportswear of retro sports style has other narratives, has other stories. So I was contacted by Volley, and the question for me was, how do we tackle a new story? Volley is a heritage Australian sports brand, tennis brand. They've had a shoe that's 8 years old, probably was a performance shoe way back when, and now it's lived several lives over generations. And now Volley is back. They've redesigned the shoe, and now they want to get into retro sports apparel. So the plan was to throw that old money aesthetic stealth wealth playbook and throw it in the bin, to click into the Australian fantasy of sport. It's not a story about money, it's not a story about fame and glamour. It's not about country club tennis, it's about public court tennis. And because Volley has existed for 80 odd years, I'd really had the luxury of choosing any decade in the past to really zero in on a design language. So I chose 1970s, 1980s, where Australia as a viewing public witnessed their athletes really outperform on a world stage. And then you also figure out what is going on in Australia at the time. What Australia is going through are these waves of European migration. Greek people, Italian people, they're bringing to Australia new ideas, new aesthetics, new fashion. And these migrants shape what we view now as sportswear culture. Adidas, Puma, Kappa, Fila, with their windbreakers, tracksuits. And at that price point, that's not a uniform of the upper class, that's middle Australia. But what's also going on in design in the 60s and 70s? What colors, what shapes are people used to seeing? Like, what is cutting edge for the time? What's in consumer electronics? What's in industrial design? And even though that's not tennis, that's still telling the story of middle Australia in the 60s to 80s. So now we've laid the table of these design ingredients. Then we start consolidating that into shapes, silhouettes, sketches. So it's not just us jumping on some Princess Diana pastiche, it's us telling our own story. So these are the sketches that I sent in. One of the key things I definitely wanted was a short sleeve windbreaker. I was really inspired by this particular photo from The Sopranos. And it's a really striking piece of 80s sportswear, that short sleeve windbreaker that Christopher is wearing in this photo. And it's used in baseball and golf. You have the athletic raglan sleeve, you have the piping, which is a very 80s, 90s design element. And that color palette is straight from consumer electronics. Like still going down that Euro sport look, really inspired by Franz Beckenbauer and that World Cup winning German football shirt. And that together with Arthur Ashe tried to translate that into like a Euro ringer tee. So following along those ideas, I really wanted a women's tennis top to talk to the same design language as the ringer tee. So you'll see that the black collar remains as a design element. This is one of the ideas for the bomber jacket. One of the early ideas I wanted to play with was that the curves of the tennis ball, the way that it's constructed, also is reflected in the design lines of the bomber jacket. But that's the thing about sketches. These things aren't three-dimensional objects. I can draw whatever I want and it takes me seconds. But to actually translate that into a commercial design that is easy to make at scale is a completely different process skill set. I got the easy end of the deal. Like towards the end of my contribution, I found it easier to offer up not just one idea, but maybe a host of different ideas, like these 6 hitting jackets. So they had a choice of things that they could put into production. Like design is a longer process than that. The work remains to choose the right fabric, to pattern make, to do multiple fittings, and then to bring it all under budget. You have to give credit to their design team, their fabric sourcing team. This is the start of a very exciting journey for them.
You're gonna have to just cut random shit out of this. Hands crossed, hands behind the back.
Whatever you want, whatever feels natural.
This is natural. Look, it's a heritage brand, 85 years old. We want to lean into that vintage, all of those shoots you would have seen back in the 90s, early 2000s, even the 80s. My inspirations for this were kind of anti-inspirations in a way. A lot of our reference shots were, different shoots, whether it be brands or historic photos, but They're very serious. You'll see there's a table over there with fruit, bacon and eggs and such. Things you'd never see on a tennis court. It's kind of interesting because the brand's been around since 1939. It's had a lot of different evolutions. I mean, my old man's 64. He wore them when he was in primary school as well. I wore them when I was in primary school. So it's gone through the generations. This new evolution we're on now is really exciting just because never done apparel before. It's been a very long time since there's been a new silhouette added to the fold as well. So to combine both of those together with Baseline, which we released only just under a month ago now. This is funny, when you see everything color graded, looking nice and colorful and good to go, you never see all of the little hurdles you have to kind of overcome to get there. We received the marketing samples a couple of days ago. The final pre-production samples were approved, I think, a week or so ago. So we were on the clock, but it's the perfect season for us to release this now, leading into Christmas. Australian Open's, a couple of months away as well. Emily in customer service, who let us know that Will was wearing volleys in his podcast. So before that, we actually had no idea. And as soon as that happened, I jumped on the phone to his manager. We're on a Teams call. Oh, this is awkward.
I'd hate to interrupt, but I've just smeared dark rubber all over the white tablecloth.
Oh, no.
Keep going with the interview, my bad. That was all me.
What did you do?
It should be said that I hate photo shoots. Like, it's not something I really enjoy. The photo shoot is very often the full stop of the end of the entire design journey. This is the definitive presentation of a long design process. You can't change it, you can't touch it anymore from then. I'll just probably be in a corner just lurking. No matter how good looking the models are, I will not get involved.
Get a couple more, and then but I like it is because it's through that machine of irony, right? So
Exactly.
It's good.
And then we got also before we got the
It's so bizarre.
this is the first time I've ever held one of those today.
Yeah, where am I pointing it?
Yeah, it's a find a sweet spot. I'm gonna get
I'm Will, and we're on the set for the Volleys shoot for the clothes. I'm in a fit now. It is very hot, but because I know I look so hot and sexy, I don't mind because the pants are slay. And we've got the Volleys here. This is the new style. This is the fourth color block. I think that's the term. Color block. I'm so smart. So that's the vibe there. And then look at these. I was wearing these before, showing off my legs, which was really fun. We've got some of these. You can obviously see it. I don't need to work my way through it, but we're playing tennis. For those that are interested, I won a tennis tournament when I was 12. So it's just good to come back to my roots, I guess. I could have chosen to be a professional tennis player probably, but I just knew one day I'd be on a set for a Volleys shoot, and that's just what I really wanted to do.
My favourite outfit of the day has been, it's actually really hard to choose. I loved this together, can't go past a pleated skirt, and I felt very Zendaya on the challenges. But honestly, this and this was top tier. And the colour, the blue, are you kidding me? The orange, the blue, I've never seen Will look so slay. And yeah, this little knit number, does it come in my size?
Here it is. They're like three-dimensional objects. It's insane. This is a real leap of faith because you send off these sketches which look okay two-dimensionally, but you don't know what fabric they've chosen, you don't know what fits they've chosen. So to have this interpreted and then made into things, like this is the hitting jacket, is wild. Yeah, I still don't know how I feel about the entire thing. I've never half designed things before, but it's actually pretty thrilling to see, to be honest. It's almost like I've got my own big department working for me, but it's quite the opposite, I guess, in real life.
Like, I loved working on this stuff. I design clothes for my own brand, and I've got my little paw prints from the start right down to the stitches at the end, and you have oversight over everything. When you parachute to problem solve for someone else creatively, it's really so refreshing. I would otherwise never work on tennis clothes at that price point for a completely different audience. And it was like super exciting for me, right? To use the same muscles. How do I not copy trends? How do I develop original ideas? How do I lay the table for design elements? How do I turn that into a sketch? All these muscles and all that creative work has made me a better designer, for sure.
They really
This is
do.
a hectic fit.
Oh,
This is
great.
eats. I feel so great.
I love that. Zook. They're such a great colours.
Is this filming? Thank you so much to Ken and Volleys
Oh,
for making me look so
honestly,
sexy. I
yes.
feel ready to take on the world.
I second that. We want to work with you forever. Now, what's in the paper today? Let me find an ad.
Women voting! Oh, I've
what's
heard it all
next?
before.